Hey, howdy, yo, all you beautiful, fine shits and shit tets. Wait, am I allowed to? Wait, is that offensive? No, I can't. I don't think it is,
Are you
right?
like
No,
actually asking me,
no,
or
like I'm genuinely asking because, like, it sounded worse than when I said it than it sounded in my head.
like why? Because you're like genderfying it or something? Is that
Yeah,
what you're
because
asking?
yeah. Like
I don't fucking know.
yeah, like shits and shitettes. Like I don't know. I'm equally describing both as pieces of shit. So. But
I think you're
damn,
good.
I'm digging myself into a deeper bro hole. But fuck
Yeah,
that shit. Anyway, welcome guys back to the $2 Film Club. Don't forget to pay your membership fees this weekend, y'all. We're upcharging to $4 this week, so we're still the $2 Film Club, but you pay $4. So fuck you and fuck your wife and fuck your family. And if you have your dog, pet him for me. But neither here, there. Have you seen The Running Man at all? Anyone this weekend? Yes, I'm asking you in the audience and not you, Leo, before you answer this this third person question. But Running Man's coming out this weekend, which involves Glenn Powell and one of
did it
my
already
favorite.
come out?
Yeah, bro, it came out this weekend. I told you I saw it, bro. What?
Well, no, you said it's coming out this weekend, referring to
Oh
like
yeah, I'm fried. I
future
definitely
tense.
no, bro. I definitely thought it was Friday. I'm fried. I'm sorry. It's Tuesday. My days are all mixed up. Yes, it came out last weekend, and you just fucked me all up, bro. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nah, fuck you. But this movie is written and directed by Edgar Wright, and so we figured we'd come back. And I've been telling Leo for a while that the Cornetto trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And he asked me, what the fuck is the Cornetto trilogy mean? And I'm like, bro, it's just some ice cream that shows up in the movie. And yes, it's as stupid as it sounds, but I think it offers a really great three fucking slate of films. And you were mentioning how you watched them back to back. I don't. I guess this is like a two-part question for you. What is your relation to like Edgar Wright? Because I know you hadn't watched these. I think you maybe had seen Baby Driver, and then like, what were your initial thoughts on like the three films as a whole after watching them?
I mean, I haven't seen Baby Driver yet. That's on my list. I think it's been on my Netflix list for a while.
See, bro, I love the movie,
Honestly,
but just really questionable people. Just
oh, you
littered
mean the
throughout.
cast?
Yeah, just littered throughout. So it's just really hard to watch it and be like, wow, he's really good.
He was a writer on that. Sorry, I'm looking at his filmography on
Yeah, dude,
Wikipedia
I'm
to like
pretty
see
sure
what
he's
he.
a writer in most of his films.
Yeah, but no, I'm no,
His
I mean like
co-writer for Running Man was the guy who helped co-write oh my god, why am I
21
blanking on
Jump
the
Street.
name? No. Scott Pilgrim.
Oh yeah.
I had to think of it. It just like left my head because I was thinking of Michael Cera.
You know, yeah, I thought this dude had directed a little more movies.
No, he's only got
I
like nine
guess the
films.
only I guess the only movie of his that I'd seen before this was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
That's wild.
That's interesting. Yeah, I really do need to watch Baby Driver. He directed a documentary. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean it's pretty much that and oh, I forgot he did that Last Night in Soho movie.
that was his last one too.
Yeah,
Before
so I
yeah.
think yeah, it's that Baby Driver and the Running Man are the only ones that I haven't seen so far.
Well, now you've seen. I would say these three are my favorite of his. Like I don't think anything he makes is gonna top these. But
I
I'm
mean, Scott Pilgrim
curious.
versus the World is a pretty good movie. I
It's a
mean,
pretty good movie, but I'd still happily watch any one of these three over that any day of the week.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like that movie's the only one that I really identified as like his film that I had seen. That I don't know.
Which is funny because I feel like a lot of those traits that I feel like you identify in Scott Pilgrim just are littered throughout these three films.
Oh no, yeah. No, you can like it's crazy going from So I know I had texted you asking like, oh, should I watch them in release order? And you were like, oh, it doesn't really matter. But I'm kind of glad that I did watch them in release order because it was interesting watching like how he kind of further honed in on his specific style, especially with these three movies before he made Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because I'm pretty sure that was the next movie he directed, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Hold
think you're
on.
right.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Sorry. So he directed that after Hot Fuzz, and then 3 years later, The World's End came out. That's interesting. I didn't know that movie came out after Scott Pilgrim, but I mean, you can still very tell the evolution of his style. Um, I think I think The World's End is probably a lot closer to the style of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but Hot Fuzz is still pretty up there as well. Um, Obviously, Hot Fuzz is kind of trying to have a similar style to like kind of the action movies that it's riffing on. Um, but I still think there's a lot of interesting like montage moments that you really see in his filmography, as well as how he uses like licensed music. So
Well, yeah, I think what was I was sitting on the toilet today and I was on Instagram and I saw an interview with Glenn Powell.
oh, I've seen that one. Yeah,
Yeah, you know which one I'm gonna talk about with like the beat of the music and how he like has to act to it and make sure like his pace is to the music when he's like acting on set. So
yeah.
I've always wondered how he's got the time syncing so well because one dude, once you watch Baby Driver, that's the film he treat like everything you see before that, Baby Driver just kind of perfects it all, I think. And I think that's what makes Baby Driver a really great film overall. Just take away all the cast member things. Um,
Well, I mean,
however,
didn't I hear in? I'm pretty sure in Baby Driver, he would play like the composer's music during filming so that they could like the actors and the stunt performers could do it all in sync with the timing of the music.
yeah. And I think he's done that for all of his films too.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it definitely makes it like these movies are very kinetic. That's what I'll say.
and that's what keeps you like invested in the film outside of like the plot and narrative stuff.
I mean, honestly, a lot of the plot stuff isn't really the most engaging sometimes, because the way that a lot of these movies are structured is that things don't really pick up until like about the halfway point. Like The World's End, the first half of the movie is about them trying to, go bar hopping, and it isn't really until like halfway through the movie where the android stuff gets introduced. And it's kind of similar. Like nobody gets murdered in Hot Fuzz until like halfway through the movie. Shaun of the Dead is a little less so there, but there's still quite a bit of time before like the actual zombie like main outbreak happens, if you know what I mean.
No, yeah. I don't know. I always like that the three of them always have like this kind of starting foundation that you don't know where they're going. Like you can base it off of like the titles, but like kind of what you were saying, you don't really understand what the plot is really happening or what's really going on until around like a third, almost halfway through into the film, which I think the way you're making it sound is making it sound like a negative thing. I feel
Well, no,
like
no,
I
no.
like it. No, I'm not saying you inherently think it's bad. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I think you think it's bad, but I actually kind of enjoy that aspect with the films because this is where it gets into like what do you favor when you're trying to watch these type of films. I like that he actually spends a little bit of time trying to understand all of these characters who are all played by the same people in essentially every film, and I think they find a really good way or like write it in a really good way to write all the characters separate from each other and also act very different. Like that's what I enjoy most is I'm not going to get the same performance even though I'm all going to get like a lot of the same somewhat similar comedic beats, like especially within like the editing and the character interactions in particular.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't necessarily saying that the way that it's structured was a bad thing. I think Shaun of the Dead does a really good job of like sprinkling in those like moments of like, oh, what's going on around like the main character. The World's End less so, but that's whatever.
I don't know.
Um,
So let's talk about World's End first because I feel like that is the more, I don't want to say controversial, but the one I think people are more like 50-50 on. Like you either really like it or you're kind of just like so iffy, like you could do without it.
mm,
And I'm curious to know like what you think of the film because I feel like I'm much. I think I gave this like spoiler. I haven't looked at my rating yet. I forgot what I gave it, but I think I gave the rating like a 4.5 for this for The World's End. Like
mm,
I think is like a really good film and is profoundly deep out of nowhere, which I think happens in Shaun of the Dead, less so in Hot Fuzz,
yeah,
but more so in Shaun of the Dead. But I think World's End, like, dude, I think the film just gets really sad really fast, and I don't think this type of film would have worked if it wasn't for like Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright being behind it because like I don't know Edgar Wright. I haven't read about like his past, but like or I don't even I think um someone had to have dealt with alcoholism with this film because
mm.
like if I felt it on a personal level. I don't know how like else to describe it, but I'll let you talk about The World's End because I'm curious to know what you thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, I it definitely goes in a lot of unexpected directions. I vaguely remember having seen the trailer before. I think I had a DVD or something that um the this was one of the previews on it, and so I would always see it. But I mean, I don't know. I will say I was never really that interested in its kind of premise, but a lot I remember the trailer focusing a lot more on the sci-fi stuff, which is only about half of what this movie is kind of about. And even I'm looking at the Wikipedia like poster or whatever, and it's just kind of an odd choice if I'm being honest. It,
Yeah, you don't
um,
really get a good sense of
it, it
like what
looks
it's about.
it looks like this movie is kind of like um or just based on the poster, it looks like it's trying to be like a parody of like Doctor Who or something, which isn't really what it is. So yeah, this was the only one that because I had seen the trailer, I kind of knew what the concept was. But you know, that just kind of made it a little more surprising that it takes so long for anything weird to really start happening. And my aunt was watching it with me. She was kind of there for like the tail end of Hot Fuzz, and then I started watching this one. And I remember when when the bathroom brawl happens, both her and my brother were just like, "What the fuck?" Because all of it is just like you're the following them going back to their hometown
They're at
and
bars
going through the
drinking.
bars and everything, and then just all of a sudden it becomes this like sci-fi action comedy, and they were just like, "What the fuck?"
I think that's like a common thing with the three films that you see a lot is the genres shifting and switching a lot that I think Edgar Wright's really good with.
I think it's a little more jarring in The World's End, and it
I can agree.
and I think it happens more than once in The World's End, which I think is. I'm not saying it's 100% a bad thing. I'm just saying that if you're like if you're talking about them in comparison, you can kind of see like where The World's End maybe might not be as well regarded for some fans as the other ones. I still really liked The World's End. I was actually very surprised because I kind of thought that maybe by the end I would kind of be getting a little tired of the whole shtick with this trilogy of films. But I think each film does something like really interesting with its premise that I really liked, and I do think they get funnier as they go along. Like Shaun of the Dead wasn't. Like I wasn't like pissing myself
It
laughing or
I would
anything.
say it's like very British dry humor, more
Yeah,
so than it is like straight up like what World's End turns into, where it's almost like slapstick in some bits. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
Shaun of the Dead does have some slapstick when they do like throw the oh my god, I
Oh,
don't
the
know,
records,
the
the
records at
vinyl
the heads, like
records.
stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
not to the extent like World's End where they're like just like throwing people fucking WWE body slam into urinals and shit, like so outlandish, and like even the aliens kind of look like Lego figures a little bit.
I said the same thing.
That was my first thought, and I kind of like it because I think people's biggest gripe is it's so much more outlandish than what the other two are. Because the world that
Is
those
it though?
two, I don't know. I think the worlds that those other two films set up they're more firm in the worlds that they have built. Like Hot Fuzz is a very satirical world where
Yeah.
people shouldn't be taken seriously outside of Simon Pegg in that film, really. But then you have like Shaun of the Dead, where it's a real world, but like a very early 2000s fear that I think that was still kind of prevalent. Like, oh, what if there was a virus that just randomly took everything over? And it's
Wasn't this
that
the same time that 28 Days Later came out?
yeah, it was like the same year, 2004. Well,
No,
right?
2000,
No,
2 years apart. 2 years
2 years,
apart.
2002. I always forget 28 years is so early. Um, But yeah, you can see like that social and societal fear that I think you get a good balance between it being outlandish and it being a zombie film. But I think the characters are so grounded in their own realities throughout all of their films that I think is what makes them work so well for me. And I think that's what like goes for the World's End. Like, dude, I won't sit here and lie. Of the three films, I think the World's End probably gets me the most emotional. Like that final like monologue that Simon Pegg gives at the end of the film is actually really fucking heartbreaking. If you watch the entire film and having like or just the first half and watching like alcohol being this one factor that helped kept him like a part of his past while going home. Like this dude wasn't able to move on from being 17 years old. And like
Yeah.
there's something very real about that issue. Like I'm not saying that's me or you, but it's a very real issue in the world where people just get like stuck in these motions, whether it's in life, drinking alcohol, and like they relive the glory days. And I don't know, I thought it really stuck with me. I can agree, I thought the ending got a little outlandish with like this wasteland
Okay, yeah.
apocalyptic
So
desert.
that's the one part of the movie that I really wasn't sold on. It's kind of silly for no reason.
Yeah,
And
like I liked what they were trying to get at with like now it's his world and like he finally feels like he fits in it. But if you look a little like into it more, it's like damn bro, everyone else had to die and be replaced by a bunch of like Lego aliens for him to feel like
yeah.
socially competent and inept.
Yeah, I mean it just it really
Like
it felt very just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know. It didn't make me feel very like satisfied with how it ends. Like it's one thing to like wrap up the emotional like conflict between him and Andy, but then having like some of them getting a happy ending and then the rest of them kind of being like, oh, Ollie is he's a blank, but he, goes back to being uh a real estate agent or whatever, and then the other dude, I can't remember his name. His replacement goes back to like continue being a father or whatever. It's kind of like all over the place, and then also with just the weird kind of like world commentary on like them surviving without technology. I don't know. It just felt really odd to me, and then it takes so long for us to actually get to the point of the epilogue where we actually finally see what happened to Gary. And just on top of how it felt like it felt like a video game, like post-apocalyptic plot line that I just didn't really feel worked with what the rest of the movie was trying to be.
No, I agree. And the only reason why I don't really think like yeah, it's annoying and like I'm like why'd you guys choose to do this? M- It's not much of the movie and I can feel satisfied enough with what I felt like they were wanting to do with Simon Pegg's character in The World's End
Yeah.
where I'm like all right, that's fine. But I agree. I think the ending probably could have been a little bit better, and not just having all of the friends kind of go back to these social norms that they were kind of stuck in already at the start of the film, being Lego aliens now.
Yeah.
Are they trying to say like all civilizations are like that or some shit like bro? So like I don't think it's like supposed to be deep or anything, and that's my thing for a film that I feel like has been saying a lot for a good portion of the film, especially not over only like about alcoholism and like how we hold on to like our youth and glory days, but something that like me personally I've been like not discovering, but like I've been thinking a lot about is those younger friendships like in middle school and high school that as like now you start to get like further in your life and those like relationships become further and further regardless of like what the issues are, whether it's like getting into a car accident, you being the reason because of your drinking, or just like kind of parting ways. I think there's something really sad yet satisfying in this film that I think it does conclude by the end with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost that I think the collection of the films do really well. That I think when I come to these movies, that's the one thing I'm kind of rooting for. And I think you even see that in The World's End with making Simon Pegg and Nick Frost like the two ex best friends where he's mad at him because of the car accident when they were younger. But Simon Pegg is so egotistical and stuck in his own world, he can't see what he's doing wrong to like harm Nick and all of the friends. So I do like that.
Yeah, I definitely think The World's End has more to say about like yeah, with its, main themes and stuff. Shaun of the Dead is a good second. Hot Fuzz, I'm
It's a
not
straight
sa-
up
I'm yeah,
comedy.
I'm not saying this is a bad thing.
No,
Obviously it's
yeah,
kind
I
of
agree.
yeah, obviously it's kind of like it's more of a parody of, buddy cop action movies than any of the other ones are. Shaun of the Dead isn't I wouldn't say it's a parody, it's just more of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Shit.
You got this, bro. I believe in you. Just let it
It's
like
like right
flow
on the
through
tip
you.
of my tongue. Like what I'm trying to say is that it fits into like the genre of like, zombie films while also, you know, kind of going in a different direction. Like it's not as predictable with like the tropes and the cliches and all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
I don't
agree.
know if that really makes sense. There's a word that I'm looking for. I can't fucking find it for the life of me. But it takes a lot of, what previous, zombie genre films have done, and it like mixes it up a little bit. But
Yeah,
I don't think it's particularly saying anything bad about that subgenre of films. I'm just saying,
well, I look at it this way. If you're like supposed to look at them as like, I'm not saying like as a trilogy, you should be watching them in order like that, but they're a collection of films made by these three guys that they clearly had some type of goal with making it,
yeah,
and I think that's my favorite thing when going back to it is it feels like it's created from like a true place of like damn, this is gonna sound corny as shit, but like a true place of like friendship. Like you could feel Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, and Edgar Wright's like friendship kind of come through in these three films, and their love for film and genres because they're all uniquely different movies. While like Shaun of the Dead is quote unquote characterized as a horror film because it's inherently zombies. It's a rooted comedy, but then you have Hot Fuzz, which is a straight up comedy, and then you have um,
The World's End.
World's End, which is a dramedy, right? So you have comedy lingering throughout all of them, but like they play with the genres and they're all trying to like accomplish different things. And I think they all accomplish like I don't think World's End does it as well as Hot Fuzzes and Shaun of the Dead. I think they're more like locked in on what they want to do and what they're trying to say than I think World's End is a little bit. Um, but going back to them, I just always love them. They're always entertaining, no matter what you know, no matter like even the twist in Hot Fuzz, like it's never not bad. Like there's like going back to like a Scream movie or something, or like these movies where they have like killer reveals, and like you watching it like kind of ruins a movie a little bit, or like not ruins it, but makes it less fun to watch. Like it doesn't make you want to go back and watch it. Like that's not inherently a problem with like I think Hot Fuzz because they make the characters or like the killers such an interesting aspect of the movie in which it's all of the like eldest community members trying to like keep out gentrification essentially. And so there's like these really cool unique ideas on like what you were saying before the tropes that they just have a keen eye on throughout each film that I just love.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I think all of these films have their own unique spin on things, and they're kind of like I was saying earlier. Like I wasn't sure if I would like The World's End because I thought that in watching them all, like pretty much all the way through in a couple of hours, I wasn't really expecting to be fully on board by the end because I felt that I would maybe just get bored with it. But I think all of them are, uniquely interesting in their own ways. I definitely have my favorites, and I think each film has something about it that I'm not particularly 100% sold on, whether it's like how it ends or something that happens, in between or whatever. But I think overall they're just like they're really good for no reason. Like you wouldn't expect a movie like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz or whatever to be genuinely funny, but also like genuinely like good films at the same time. And there's clearly a lot of like passion and craft that went into making the movies. Because I mean, just look at like Shaun of the Dead for instance, like that like one shot, that tracking one shot that they do twice in the movie, really good. Like I love all of that. And there's just moments like that littered throughout all of these films where you can just really see like, damn, these guys really knew what they wanted to do with these.
Yeah, exactly. And every time I think about like the ending of like Shaun of the Dead in particular is I like the common thread through all these that there's the foundation of friendship that is just lingering through all these. And I think Shaun of the Dead. I'm debating if Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz does it the best because I think they're depicting two different versions of a close male relationship. Where Shaun of the Dead is, it's talking about how like someone that you're close friends with could potentially be a blockade in your life, while Hot Fuzz is kind of saying the opposite, where Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are so opposites in that movie. Where, as in Shaun of the Dead, they're similar. You kind of need that opposite to attract, and you see them become really close because Nick Frost in Hot Fuzz is that personality that he doesn't get to be because he lives in that like that stereotypical cop uniform lifestyle where he has to take down the criminal. He's on news getting these badges, but he's too the joke is he's too good at his job that
Oh,
they have to send him to bumfuck nowhere because they need to give everyone else a chance to stop someone. Like, dude, that's so fucking ridiculous of a concept that it works so well.
Yeah, I really liked about I listen, as good as Shaun of the Dead is, the one
Hot Fuzz is
thing
my favorite,
the
by the
one thing
way.
that I kind of didn't like about that movie is the ending again. And not to mean like, oh, everything kind of gets, brushed under the rug, like the military comes in and it's all, hooray or whatever. It's just that it kind of feels a little backwards in terms of its arc by having Sean keep Ed as like a pet. I just thought that was
Yeah.
kind of weird. It didn't feel like it was, you know, in track with what the movie was trying to say about his character and about their friendship. Hot Fuzz is, I don't even know how I would describe it. It's I appreciate for what it is in terms of like spoofing action films. Um sometimes it can feel a little much, if that makes sense. Like some of the action scenes, they're clearly shot to be like those action movies, but sometimes it kind of gets a little nauseating when the camera's constantly like moving around like that. um but I did appreciate that in it, like it kind of doubles down on how silly all of this is when the reveal happens, in that like he's worked out this clever plot about the land and whatnot and why they've been killing everyone and how it's all linked together. And then they're just like, nah, dude, we just wanted to kill them because they don't fit in with our community. I just thought that
Yeah.
was really interesting. And it ends up having more, like, in it being a little more stupid, it kind of has more to say about that sort of like, not necessarily like classist mentality, but the just the idea of like, creating outcasts to sort of be blamed for everything. Um
Well, could you even call it like a classist outcast type of thing?
well, yeah, I mean,
Because
it's
they do
kind of
kill.
similar.
I get, yeah, I get what
I'm not saying
you're
that that's what
saying.
it is.
Yeah,
I'm just saying like
no,
it's
no, I
kind of
know
like
what you're saying.
adjacent.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
what the exact word is for it, but
I
it's
will say though.
oh, that's like the idea of the other. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I will say I'll make an argument for the ending of Shaun of the Dead with him keeping Nick Frost at the end. Um,
What's that?
like for me, when I watch it, Nick Frost, his character throughout the whole film was essentially a zombie, and I think that's what they're trying to get at by the end. Now, I don't think locking him in the back and just having him be like a stupid bumbling idiot, which he already was, but now he's just silent and groans, is really the answer. But I appreciate what they were trying to get with trying to figure out how to keep this friendship that's meant so much to you throughout your life, and inherently, like, I don't know, I like it. I think the thing that works so well for it is I think about the scene between Simon and Nick when they're in like the little wine cellar or whatever it is. And going back to what you were saying with these ridiculous ideas and concepts littered throughout these films, I think the thing that really brings them back down to earth so well, that does keep us, or at least me, like super emotionally invested, is the really great dialogue and I think acting between like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Like their moments at the end of each film, I think are typically the highlight points because you truly feel like that friendship and like that brotherhood come through and that true love for one another. And I don't know, I think it's one of those things where you can't truly explain it that much, but it's one of those things in Hollywood when you watch like two actors who are really close and work with each other a lot that have chemistry. Their chemistry is something that's different from those typically. And I think that is something that works really well for them and I think makes the ending work well on an emotional level and not always at a story level.
Yeah.
Because like, bro, the ending of Shaun of the Dead, just that their conversation also kind of gets me a little teary, just because they're doing such a good job. You know?
Yeah, I was very surprised overall at how well the emotions like landed in these movies. Because you have the moment between Sean and his stepdad Philip, and then also the moment between him and his mom. That I was like, damn, this. It didn't feel like a comedy anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
like the movies just like stop and get like overtly serious sometimes.
yeah,
And that's what I kind of like. It's kind of like a slap in the face, like, hey guys, reality does happen in like these fantasies
yeah,
sometimes. And I think that's what I like about them.
yeah. I agree. It did felt it felt oddly yet satisfyingly real in those moments, and I kind of liked when it stopped to take a breath and just let us sit with those emotions of just like, damn, this movie is. It's sort of it's sort of them being like, okay, this is the point of the movie, guys, but not in like a ham-fisted like in your face way. It's just with using the tools of storytelling um to elicit that emotion instead of just being like, and it was all about the friends we made along the way, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just think another reason why I think I appreciate these films so much is a scene that I always think about in particular is from Shaun of the Dead when they're in the bar. And I can't remember if it's when his mom changes. I think it's when his mom changes, and they're just like beating her around in a circle with the pool sticks with the beat of "Don't Stop Me Now," or it might have been Bill Nye. I forgot which character it was.
It was the owner of the bar or the
The owner of
pub.
the bar, that's what it was. And I always think about that moment how it can go from something so laughably stupid as our characters just not doing the dirty work and stabbing them in the head and just like relentlessly beating the zombie and not doing anything essentially, to the beat of like a Queen song, which is kind of random at the time, to having everything stop at like a little screech, and then the mood of the film just changes, and like now Simon Pegg is like in fucking tears, crying about how much he misses his mommy and how much like he just wanted to help everybody, and like all of his plans that caused people to die wasn't supposed to turn out like this. Like it's those type of things where it just gets like so human and raw emotionally and on a character level that I think a lot of us can emotionally resonate with, that there's shown that all three of these films do, that is why like I think I love them so much. And I think that's what makes them stand out from a lot of different films, trilogies, if you want to consider it under like that branch. um Whatever it may be, like these are three consistent comedy films that I will like live and die on. And like that's like a kind of a reason as to why.
Mm. Yeah, I mean these, I because I mean I'm not a big comedy fan. I've seen some good ones in my time, but there's not a lot that I'm really like that quick to return to, and I think these ones are a lot different. Like they feel like movies that I would actually enjoy coming back to, and not having like not being ruined by knowing what the joke is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because sometimes it's not always like a verbal joke. There's a lot of like visual camera jokes too, with like the way the cameras move and the way the camera like it's all edited together, that I
Yeah.
think works really well. Like what is it in Shaun of the Dead when he like wakes up and he does his morning routine, like all of that is just really well done. While it's not like drop dead hilarious, it's like all the subtle things in those that work really well. Like what you were talking about before, the tracking shot when he goes in and gets like the Diet Cokes in the morning. It's like if you're observant, you're gonna notice like everything's fucked up behind you. Or like I love the scene when they leave the bar the night before and they're joking about these two people like almost having sex outside, but once they turn around and if you're looking behind them, it's a zombie woman just biting the guy's neck off and it just snaps.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
really like
it
that about Shaun of the Dead, how like there's constantly like
Yeah,
stuff building up in the background that if you're paying attention, you can kind of tell like, oh, something's off here. That and I kind of wish The World's End did that a little more.
I agree.
And even a little bit with Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz has its moments where
It does it
he's
just differently, I
noticing
think.
things, but you don't really understand how it's related.
Yeah.
And the only one that I would say is kind of more on the nose is the stuff with Timothy Dalton's character, which it's very funny that for Hot Fuzz they got Timothy
Timothy
Dalton who
Dalton,
played James Bond, and then immediately in The World's End they have Pierce Brosnan who played him next.
right?
I just thought that was really funny and interesting. And I just love the fact that they were willing to be in these movies.
Well, that's the thing is, I think it goes back to all of these films are at the cores like idealistic, idealistically ridiculous. But I think from a filmmaking standpoint, this is everything you kind of want to do, at least
Yeah,
as an actor, because I know a lot of actors like to do comedy because from what I heard, it's usually the hardest. And so I think it allows people to dip and try new things. But with a director who is really unique in the way he films and directs his films, that I think adds a lot of like different things to be happening on set, you know?
yeah,
In the way people like approach characters or like the way they act in a specific scene, because I can only imagine like I'd love to know the notes Edgar Wright, if he gave any, to like Simon Pegg in that scene at the end when he goes on in that monologue about his mom's death, or like at the end of what is it, The
The World's
World's
End.
End, when he just goes on like that monologue about his entire life and how he's kind of felt like a failure. Like I'd love to see those moments because it's like all built around these ridiculous ideas that are all inherently really entertaining outside of what's also going on.
Yeah,
Because I think the characters in all these films are also really good too. Like the ones you really like, and the ones you're like not supposed to like are you like them because you don't like them. You know?
yeah. I mean, The World's End, I feel, did a really good job with its more like ensemble style.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Simon Pegg's character is really the only one that is a little insufferable, but he gets a pass by because it got to a point where I didn't understand why he
He was
kept
just such a dick.
like yeah why he was so obsessed with the Golden Mile thing, and then it got to the end and I was like, okay, because I understand what it is now, it makes it feel less contrived. And and I also just appreciate that he's kind of playing a different character in every movie. Like Shaun of the Dead, he's more loser adjacent. And then in Hot Fuzz, he's like, the serious, big city cop.
He's hero
And
cop.
then
He's literally
yeah,
hero cop.
yeah. And in this one he's just a fucking asshole. Like,
No, no, no. He is an alcoholic asshole.
yeah, alcoholic asshole, the same thing. Um tomato tomato. But yeah, so and even, with every returning actor, they're not just doing the same thing in each movie, and that's just part. It's part of the way that it's written, but also just part of the way that they're performing it as well. And I think that helps with making all of these films feel very unique in the stories that they're trying to tell, even if some of the style stuff is very similar from film to film.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really interesting to see like the time distance between like the release of between Shaun of the Dead and The World's End.
It's
With
like a
Shaun
it's like a 10-year gap.
in 2009 years, 2004 to 2013. But there is the biggest gap between Hot Fuzz and World's End, which was 6 years.
Yeah. Well, it's probably
So
because in 2010, Scott Pilgrim was what was
a
on Edgar Wright.
generational film, everybody. Generational.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. We got to talk about that movie some point.
Yeah, well, we still have like the other batch of Edgar Wright films to kind of go through one day.
Yeah, we were
Um,
gonna do Baby Driver, but then since we were already doing Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, we were just like, let's just do
Fuck it, do the
the whole
Cornettos.
trilogy.
Do you want to get to our final ratings and our like last thoughts?
Yeah,
Fire. You go first because I went first last week, bro.
fine. Hold on, I gotta find
I
everything.
know. I was like, I was popping in my letterbox. I was like,
Yeah,
damn. I was hoping you had it like in front of you.
no, and of course, Letterbox is fucking buffering. Oh, here we go. All right. So, I gave.
Edgar Wright. Where are you?
Are we ranking them too?
Yeah, fuck it.
Okay. So then I gave Shaun of the Dead a uh a 4.5 out of 5. I gave Hot Fuzz a 4.5 out of 5, and I gave The World's End a 4 out of 5. Ranking wise, I'd probably do it in the order in which they were released. I'd say Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then The World's End.
All right, this is gonna shock you.
Is it though?
Yeah, and actually, not really. Shaun of the Dead, I gave 4.5. Did I give it like an actual physical like? No, I didn't. Hot Fuzz, I gave a 5 out of 5, bro. We gotta get We should do like an alarm buzzer for every time we give something a 5 out of 5.
Because it
Because
doesn't
I feel,
happen very
yeah,
often.
that's what I'm saying, and we gotta do like the pew 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 pew, pew 5 out of 5. And then World's End, I gave a 4 stars out of 5.
Nice.
So
It's kind of
so
we're kind of close to
that's what
each
I'm saying.
other.
We're
Honestly,
close.
honestly, that's a miracle in and of itself.
The last few weeks we've been pretty similar though.
Not really. Like there's been a couple, but
Predator
and
last
even
week we were like pretty same on our thoughts and opinions on them.
yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, but that only covered about half of those movies. But I
Bro,
mean, like
I
even
don't think our opinions are going to be very different when it comes to the other two Alien versus Predator
well,
films.
no, because you said you,
Sorry.
you said you didn't think that the Predator was worse than um, or was it the other way? I don't know. We
No,
there
I
was
think the
there
Predator's
was
the
a
worst out
stretch
of the
there was a
bunch.
stretch of that conversation where we were kind of disagreeing with each other about certain things.
Bro, just stop yelling at me. But
All right.
regardless,
Well,
I still think Hot Fuzz is probably one of the best films of all time.
mm,
I will die on that hill. It's probably one of the funniest films ever, and I do agree with you. I think it gets a little too in its own groove when it's trying to mimic other action films. But I
yeah.
think Simon Pegg and Nick Wright are just so good together in the
Nick
movie.
Frost, you mean?
Yeah, I said Nick Wright, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Frost. Jesus Christ. Because I was thinking of Edgar Wright at the same time. But Nick Frost, like, their chemistry together is so palpable that, bro, he's just such a bumbling idiot. Their two personalities are so perfect in the movie that I
Yeah.
think it just works really well. And when you do get to that reveal at the end, like, you honestly believe him when he says he didn't know what was going on. And I think that is like something in and of itself for me to believe a character that is so deep in this like cult in this world. Like, bro, they were straight up having him do things for them, and this guy wasn't like questioning any of it. Like, that's how much of an idiot he is. But like, he's such a lovable idiot that even
Yeah.
he broke into Simon Pegg, and it's like those little emotional beats that like kind of like opens you up a little bit. That I I love it so much, and I'll always like recommend Hot Fuzz to people. It's one of the best comedies ever.
Yeah. I mean, I'd recommend all of these movies to everyone.
No, I recommend
Um,
all of them, but like, dude, for like a pure comedy movie, Hot Fuzz is like a pure comedy.
yeah, that's true.
You don't get like that same final act like you do from Shaun of the Dead, where he's like, where Simon Pegg is doing like this really emotional, like crying monologue about like how he's not good enough to be loved, or like he's not worthy of being loved. He's too much of an alcoholic. He lives so like it doesn't have a lot of those. This one just cares more about the friendship, and I think that's all it needed to do.
Yeah, I agree. I was definitely surprised by.
There's no female counterpart, like love triangle like thing going on. Like,
Yeah, I did really appreciate that about this movie, that it doesn't focus on like any love interest. It's really more just about Simon Pegg's character like finally connecting with someone on just, a really kind of mundane level.
and they
Um
use like his relationship woes
yeah.
as like they don't like that's not like the center of the issue, and it's not and it's not him like trying to resolve that as an issue to fix that relationship. It's a relationship that is like definitively ended at the beginning of the movie, and we just watch him try to fix that to become a better person rather than trying to become a better person for someone else,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
And I also like
love it.
him sort of realizing that, being super cop in London isn't, really the best idea or really what he needs. Because I think that was part of the reason why he was just so far gone into his job, is because he didn't have those like more grounded, more tight knit community connections that he kind of finds throughout the film while he's trying to solve these murders.
And I think that that was like an interesting touch in the beginning. You kind of touched on something, how like what was Kate Blanchett's character's name? Justine, was that his? You know, that's who his girlfriend was, right?
That's who was
That
playing her.
yeah, it's
There's
Kate
no
Blanchett.
way.
Yeah, it's Kate
Hold
Blanchett,
on. I'm
bro.
looking at
I
the.
swear to God, you didn't
Hold
know
on.
that?
What was her name? Fuck.
I think it's Jeanette or Janine in the movie.
Hold on. It's hold on.
It's not a big
Fuck, I
cast,
can't see
bro.
anyone's face on goddamn Wikipedia. Hold on, I have to look this up on IMDb.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, it's
Hot
Kate Blanchett.
Fuzz. All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I don't know why you wouldn't believe me, bro. You think I'm a liar?
Who the fuck is not Janine?
That's the first person he goes up to.
Oh,
You
okay.
remember? You remember? He's
Yeah.
like Janine. She's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, I'm
Or
not
no, it's the
Janine.
guy. It's the guy.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh,
guy. Who
yeah.
goes
Well,
like, I'm
there's
not
two of them,
Janine.
isn't there?
Yeah, no,
Jesus.
no, no.
Oh,
It's
it
when.
is her. She's uncredited. What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
bro. I
fucking.
told you.
That's crazy. I was wondering because she's in like
And
that
that's
like.
her in person too. It's not just her voice,
Yeah, I was wondering who it was because they never show her face. I did not realize that's who it was. That's fucking hilarious.
right?
Wow.
But like that also leads up to another funny moment. Like it's another like thing going to like Edgar Wright and Simon their writing, where it takes a serious moment where they're talking about their relationship issues, and where she's telling him what he's doing wrong, but he's so stuck in his own job that he can't even perceive what her issues are with him when she's
Yeah.
directly telling it to him, that you can go to her saying who she's seeing, and it's just some random guy being like hello and just popping out like some Shrek shit. Like it's just so good, and I think that's why I appreciate it as a comedy movie as a whole, because I think it does find that perfect balance that I think Shaun of the Dead and World's End do struggle with sometimes, and that's working in the emotional parts of the characters, whether it's relationship between boyfriend girlfriend or like family members. I just think, and the comedy aspect, I think Hot Fuzz does it all the best.
Yeah, I agree.
But without that said, Leo, what are we watching next week?
All right. Next week we are I forgot we were doing this. So next week we're watching not three films this time. We're going to watch two. But Wicked for Good is coming out, and so we're
Oh
going to watch the
no.
original Wizard of Oz, and then we're going to watch the Return to Oz. N- Uh Completely separate movies, not related at all because they're produced by different studios. But they do
Didn't
take
Disney
place.
didn't Disney return to Oz?
Yeah, Return to Oz is a Disney film. I believe it's directed by fuck, now I can't remember his
It's got
name.
like
I
Michael Jackson in it, I'm pretty sure, as
No, you're thinking
or
of
is
a The one, fuck, I can't remember anything today. What the fuck? Frank Oz directed this one, Return to Oz. Um,
Now I'm looking it up. Return.
you're talking about The Wiz.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. The Wiz.
Anyways, so yeah, we're doing those two movies.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
haven't.
right. This one's like the horror movie one,
Yeah,
where
well,
it's like
it's more an
it's like
adaptation.
steampunky of the book, right?
Yeah,
It's like
it's more
more
an
of a true
adaptation
adaptation.
of the book, and then the Wizard of Oz took some creative. We're gonna have a lot to say about the Wizard of Oz because there's a lot of interesting behind the scenes stuff with that.
No, dude,
I've
I'm
never
excited.
seen I've never seen Return to Oz. I've
Neither have
heard
I.
I've heard mixed things about it, and I haven't seen the Wizard of Oz in a really long time. So it'll be an interesting conversation to say the least.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to watch Return to Oz. It's gonna be kind of weird, but yep. If you guys like, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know down below what you think of the Cornetto trilogy. Do you agree? Disagree? Let us know.
Yeah, do you think it's absolute shit?
Wow, dude, don't. If you think it's absolute shit, I might like cry. Low key.
Anyways, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.